Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to today's live English lesson here on the AM Language YouTube channel. If this is your first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. On top of that, we have a new video out today, one of our short videos. In today's short video that was posted earlier on today, we will look at the we looked at the difference between the present perfect and the past simple. So if you want to know the difference between the present perfect and the past simple, make sure you go and watch the video. And on top of that, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and like and share the video. I just realized it might not have been in the best place. Good afternoon, Leondina. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you so much for joining. So yes, there are now 13 short videos. Next week, there'll be another video going up, which will be on a topic that we've looked at before here in the daily live lessons. But the point is that once I've completed going through the core videos of these short videos, the key language points that you are going to come across between elementary and intermediate and maybe up intermediate you will be able to find them. You'll be able to go onto our site, onto our YouTube channel. You'll be able to go to the playlist, short video playlist, and you'll be able to find the language point that you are looking to learn. I strongly recommend that you guys have a look at them and that you can watch them again and again, and also try and take part in the comment section as well, and leave your own personal examples. Over the summer, I hope to try and build up a collection of videos of students trying to give their answers to some of these questions as well. Arena F, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for joining. And Evelina, you as well. Good afternoon. Buon pomeriggio. Welcome to today's lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to look at just a simple question. Do we use the perfect simple, or do we use the continuous? It sometimes isn't always clear. We'll start off easy, and then depending on how things go, we'll introduce the present perfect continuous, and then we'll have a little look, because these things can be a little bit confusing. Sorry, I had to stop a yawn coming out. Just to remind you guys, tomorrow is Thursday, and tomorrow we're going to do film English. This is going to be storytelling. Make sure you join me for that. I'm going to talk about a film that I watched recently, a new one. Friday is then going to be music English, guess the language structure as well. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's film English, storytelling. We're going to look at the structures we use when we're trying to tell a story based off a film that we've watched, and maybe how we can also compare it to other films. So let's get into it, shall we? Right. So, perfect tense or continuous. Let's start off just by saying what we already know. So let's go for this. I'm always going to give you the context. Okay, I'm always going to give you the context afterwards. So we've got context one, okay? Now, in this context, the baby is awake. A. B. Good afternoon, Alida. Welcome to today's lesson. Buenas tardes. No, buenos dias, where you are in the world. So we've got the baby is awake. That's the context. The baby is awake. Do we go with the baby has slept, or do we say the baby is sleeping? So the question could be, is the baby sleeping, for example? We're not too worried about the question because the person asking the question might not know the context. We're more interested in the answer. All of you saying A, and A is correct. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Okay, the context is a race. That is happening. A. So the context is a race that is happening. Okay, the race is happening. It's in the moment. So would we then say she is running the 100-meter sprint, or would we say she has run the 100-meter sprint? Now from this, afterwards, we're then going to start mixing this up a little bit. Okay, good. A is correct. Okay, so we've got we know exactly what's happening over here. Now let's make things a little bit more difficult. I'm now going to add the question in, okay? Now we're going to build on it. So two options here. Hi, Francesca. Good afternoon. Not to worry. Thank you for joining. So the athletic events are ongoing. So it's a day event. Which one perhaps sounds a little bit more, makes a bit more sense? A, she has won her races. Or B, she has just finished her first race and she is currently getting ready for the second race. We're all saying B. Now in here in B, you can see that we've actually mixed the two. Good afternoon, Yuli. Welcome to today's lesson. So here you can see that we've mixed both the present perfect and the continuous. Well done. B is correct. Now, what about this one? Okay. She is about to race. Okay, I've now given you three. This is a bit of a trick one. I've now put three possible answers. Think of the context. She is about to race. Is it A, she has nearly started the race? Is it B, she is now going to run the 100 meters? So we've now introduced the going to one. So more than just your normal present continuous. All of you saying B. Evelina has said A. None of you have said C. Some of you have said A. Okay. The answer here is B. The reason being is that she has nearly started the race. This isn't something we would say. This is not an occasion when we would use the present perfect. We would say, for instance, she has nearly finished the race. We might say, but she has nearly started the race. No, that doesn't make sense. We wouldn't use it like this. It's like saying they have nearly started the game. We wouldn't say that. We would say they've nearly finished the game. If it's a finish one, we could use it, but it's not what we would normally use. This is before the race happens. We cannot use C, and no one has said C, because that's not happening right at this moment. We're going to have to use B. We're thrown in the going to run bit here. Okay. Let's go with the next one. This is the question. What is the answer? And I'm going to give you the context. Okay. Which one is the correct one? So the context is I've got a new phone, or I bought a new phone. The question is, are you getting a new phone today? The answers: A, yes, I'm buying it now. Or would we go with B? Yes, I've just bought it actually. Okay, Yuli has said A, Alida has said B. Remember, the context is I've got a new phone. I should really have put this in the past simple, actually. I bought a new phone. Most of you are saying B. B is correct. We bought the phone. So the clue is in the context. I've just bought it. This is an action that's just happened. Okay. Let's go with one more of this sequence, and then we'll move on to the next bit, which will be just a little bit harder. So, class is ongoing. Okay. Let me write that. Let me write B again because there's a mistype. So we say A, I've been in my class, or would we say B, I'm having my lesson at the moment? Okay, the class is ongoing. Is this the perfect? Are we going with the perfect tense, or are we going with the continuous? After this one, we're going to raise the bar just a little bit. Okay, good. B is the correct answer. Now, let's raise the bar. Okay, and there's an important difference now. We're now going to compare, because this, you guys are doing really well. Let's now raise the bar. We're now going to compare two different things, okay? And before we go into it, I'm just going to make sure I explain the difference before we do this, because I know not everyone might be fully acquainted with this next structure. So as we know, the present perfect, simple. Okay, we've got have plus past participle. Okay, we know this to be the case. For instance, I have worked at AM language for 4 years. Okay, something like that. I'm now going to introduce another one, and this is now going to be a continuous version. Okay, present perfect continuous. Continuous. Okay, so what is the structure? Have plus past participle. Okay, usually been plus continuous verb. Okay, such as I have been working at AM language for 5 years. 4 years, sorry. Now, what we have to think about is, when would we use the present perfect? When would we use the present perfect continuous? Okay. I'm going to give you some examples, and then I'm going to ask you to see if you can think of, I'm then going to give you a choice between the potential options, okay, in terms of the difference. So, A. C and D are the same. Oh, thank you. I'll rewrite that. And D. Okay, so the differences that we need to think about. 1. Which structure do we use to talk about an action started in the past is continuing in the present? And 2, which structure do we use to talk about an action that started in the past, is continuing in the present, and we are suggesting that the action is likely to continue into the future. Okay. Let me do that again. I forgot to put the question mark in 1, so it's 1 and 2, but there we go. So have a little look at these, okay? A all the way to H. You've got the choice between present perfect and present perfect continuous. The present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous now. So we started off by looking at the present perfect versus the present continuous, and you all did very well with that. I've now raised the level. We're now looking at the present perfect versus the present perfect continuous. We need to think, we've got these two structures that we need to think about. Structure 1. Which structure do we use to talk about an action that started in the past and is continuing in the present? Is that the present perfect or the present perfect continuous? 2. Which structure do we use to talk about an action that started in the past, is continuing in the present, and we are suggesting that the action is likely to continue into the future? Now, you can play around with that. We might not be suggesting, we might be saying. It might be a fact that it's continuing into the future. So the real difference here is which one includes a continuing, which one talks about that this action is going to continue into the future, and which one just stops at saying that this is continuing in the present and doesn't say anything about the future. Because this is then going to be the main difference between using a present perfect and a present perfect continuous. So we've got A, she has been working here for 4 years. That's a present perfect continuous. B, she has worked here for 4 years. That's a present perfect. C, he has lived here for 3 years. D, he has been living there for about 3 years. E, they have been traveling for 2 months. F, they have traveled for 2 months. And G, they have been waiting for a while. And D, he has been living there for about 3 years. Okay, so Leondina says 1 goes with B, C, F, and G, and 2 goes with A, D, E, and H. Alida says 1 is the present perfect simple, which is B, C, and F, which is the same answer as Leondina. And Alida says that 2 is the present perfect continuous, which applies to A, D, E, and H. So if you guys agree with Leondina and Alida, let me know. Francesca said that 1 is the present perfect and 2 is the present perfect continuous. Again, Francesca has come up with the same answers, therefore, as Alida and Leondina. So 3 of you are in agreement at the moment. So thank you very much, Francesca, Leondina, and Alida. All 3 of you have the same answers. Let's see if either Yuli or Evelina would like to come in, or Arena F, or anyone else watching. If you guys have slightly different answers, or if you agree with Francesca, Alida, and Leondina. I'll give you guys 30 more seconds, and then I'll let you know what the answer is. I mean, once you know the difference between these two things, makes a huge difference. Okay, so Evelina agrees. Okay, and I'm going to say, guys, very, very well done. I'm very pleased. Actually, I'm absolutely delighted. This is the correct answer, and you guys were right. Perfect. Well done. Number 1 is the present perfect simple. and that goes with B, C, F, and G. And the present perfect continuous is A, D, E, and H. So that's the big difference between the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. If you want to suggest that the action is continuing into the future, meaning you feel that it's necessary, that's when you would use it. Now, with me, for example, if I'm talking about my work, it depends on the context of the situation. If I'm talking to my boss, and I have no plans, let's put it this way: if I'm talking to my boss, and my boss asks me, so my boss will probably ask me, "How long have you been here for?" Okay, so if the question is, this is to my boss. Okay. We're being very technical, but if you want to be careful with your language, this is how you would do it. Okay, this is if you're being careful. Boss, okay, might say so. How long have you been with us? Okay. Me. Okay, I've got two choices, and it depends on if I want to include something about my future. This is a very small. You would have to know your grammar very well. You would have to be listening to the grammar very carefully, and you would have to know that the person knows their grammar very carefully. Me. Okay, if I say I've been working here for 3 years, I am now saying effectively, and I see myself working here in the future. But if I say, for instance, me worked here for 3 years, I'm saying, I'm not saying that I don't see myself working here in the future, but at the same time, I'm choosing not to say anything about the future. This might suggest question mark. Okay, I know I've written quite a bit here because there's potential meaning. There's possible meaning. If I go with the present perfect continuous, the person, my boss, will hear that, and if they know their grammar, they will hear that I see myself working here in the future. If I use the present perfect continuous, this because I'm making it quite clear within my language that I see myself working here in the future. I've given a sort of answer about the future where I see myself. If I go with the present perfect, however, I have worked here for 3 years. I've misspelt 4, but don't worry about that. It's careful. We have to be careful here. Now, if I use this, I am not saying that I don't see myself working here in the future. Okay, so we're not saying we don't. But at the same time, I'm choosing not to say anything about the future. This might suggest a question mark about the future. Now, when would we use this? This structure comes into play when your contract is up. So let's say you sign a contract for 2 years and you sit down with your boss and you know you only have 6 months left on your contract. You have questions about your future. If you have questions about your future, you are probably going to use the present perfect instead of the present perfect continuous. This is because there are some questions that need to be answered. If, however, in this context, we're talking about 3 years. Okay. Let's say I've signed a contract for 4 years, and I'm asked this question of coming up to my 3rd year. Well, I know I've got another year on my contract, so I'm going to use the present perfect continuous. Like I said, if there is any question mark about the future, then we're going to go with the present perfect, not the present perfect continuous. Okay. So now this is slight differences, small meaning in language, but it's good to know, because this is when you begin to show that you have a good understanding of the grammar and what that grammar might mean. Okay. We have to be careful, because some people might say things without thinking really carefully, but we've got to be careful. There is meaning within this language. Alida said, so you said that the structure of the present perfect continuouses have usually been plus past participle. Which other verb could you use instead of been? Great question. Let's go with this. Within that exact structure, I can't think of another past participle that we could use. We could change the past participle if we play around with an object. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, this would be, for instance, I have seen. It's completely, the meaning is now quite different, so it's not exactly the same. But just to show you what I'm talking about here, in this strict context of the present perfect continuous, I can't think of another alternative to been off the top of my head. I'm not sure if it's even possible. Could I say I have gone traveling for? No, I can't use gone. I have seen people have seen talk. No, I can't use it. I have to use been. I have to use been. So yeah, stick with been. The only way I could play around with this, for instance, Alida, is if I did something like this. I have seen people talking about it on the internet. You can see here, I've broken the present perfect continuous up by putting an object between the present perfect bit and the continuous verb. This is something slightly, we're playing around with the grammar structure here. So sticking with what we're talking about, no, you're going to have to use been. We can't use anything else. The only way that I can start playing around with the past participle is if I'm going to start talking about, if I'm going to introduce an object. If I decide to add an object and separate the past participle and the verb, then I can change the past participle. But if I don't, I have to use been. Okay, so let's go with this. If this is the situation, do we use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous? Let's see. So the situation, I have 6 months. No, I have 3 months left on my contract. So this is the first one. I have 3 months left on my contract. Okay. In this situation, with only 3 months left on my contract, do I say I've been working here for 4 years, or Do we say, I have worked here for 4 years? Okay. If we think there is uncertainty about the future, we have to think very carefully. Do we go with the present perfect or do we go with the present perfect continuous? Alida says it's B, so Alida has gone with the present perfect. Let me know what you guys think. Francesca says A, Leondina says B. Okay, because there's only 3 months left on the contract, we go with the present perfect. Okay, so the answer here is B. This is the safe option because there's doubt. There's no certainty here at this point. We have question marks. Okay, so grammatically speaking, it's better to go with the present perfect. I should say, guys, okay, this is what the grammar means. It doesn't mean people always use it like this because people don't always think about their grammar. But if you want to be accurate with your grammar, then this is what you should be thinking. This does make a difference. Okay, let's go again. So now the context for this one here is I have 12 months left on my contract. Do I go with the present perfect or the present perfect continuous? I have been working here for 5 years. I have worked here for 5 years. Leondina says A. I mean, 12 months is a long time left on the contract. All of you are saying A. Yeah, A is correct. Excellent. Very good. Well done. Okay, let's go with this. Okay. Final thing now, this is now in your own words. So I would like you guys to try and tell me what this means in your own words. Okay. What does this sentence mean? The sentence reads, we have been traveling around South America for 3 months. So what does this mean? Here we've used the present perfect continuous, have been traveling. What does this mean? In your own words, what does this mean? I think it's coming up to a time for a cup of tea as well. It's nearly 4:15. No, 4:15, sorry. It's nearly 5:15 in Malta. I think that a cup of tea is on the cards at this point for me. But before I make a cup of tea, what do you guys think about this? We have been traveling around South America for 3 months. Alida says it means that the journey started 3 months ago and the intention is to still keep traveling. Leodina says we have started our travel we have started our travel 3 months ago and we are thinking to continue. Very good. I would say, instead of saying we have started our travel 3 months, because the problem here is, Leondine, is if you had said we have started our travel 3 months, in this case, I would have said we started our travel 3 months ago, and we're thinking of continuing. Your meaning is correct. The construction isn't quite there. Don't forget, we cannot use a past time marker with the present perfect. So we can't use a go. If you use a go, you have to use past simple. Francesca says present perfect, action happened before, but consequence now. I see what you're trying to say. Not quite, Francesca. This is a present perfect continuous, and the action started in the past and is continuing in the present and will continue in the future. Is likely to continue in the future. Okay, so the best answer here, we'll go with the leaders. Okay, answer, that would be the best one. Now, so it means that the journey started 3 months ago, and the intention is to still keep traveling. The intention is to keep traveling effectively. Okay, that would be, we don't necessarily keep, the intention is to still keep traveling. The intention is to keep on traveling. So guys, I see what you guys are going for. I think in terms of when I gave you guys a multiple choice, you all got the questions right. When trying to explain it in your own words, it's obviously harder. And I appreciate not everyone is at the same level. But if you are of a pre-intermediate level or an intermediate level, and you got the multiple choice questions right, which are most of you, excellent, well done. If you, I can tell that you guys understand the meaning, which is really the important thing. Trying to explain it obviously is a lot harder. I wouldn't expect someone to really explain this in their own words, unless if they were of a much higher level, like an upper intermediate level, or maybe a bit more. So don't worry if you struggled with the last question. That is a hard question to answer. But the fact that all of you did well with the multiple choice questions from start to finish, excellent. We've looked at the difference between the present perfect and the continuous as well. And we looked at the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous. And I know that not all of you have looked at the present perfect continuous. So really, really well done. The grammar structure here is not easy, but you've all done really well. So thank you so much for your contribution. So big thank you to Francesca. I know your level, and I think you've done really well today, Francesca. So well done. Leondina, you too. Thank you so much for joining, and well done today. Alida, very good work. Evelina, you too. Well done today. Yuli, thank you very much for your contribution as well. Arena F, you as well. Thank you very much. And to everyone else who has been watching, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time for another live English lesson. Make sure you guys go and check out the latest video, short video, present perfect versus past simple. If you're pre-intermediate or intermediate, definitely watch it and like the video as well. Evelina says, see you soon and bye. Thank you very much, Evelina. Leondina says, thank you, Richard. Always useful, your lessons. Have a nice evening. You too, Leondina. Thank you. Alida says, thanks, Richard. Have a nice day. You too. Francesca says, see you tomorrow, guys. And Evelina says, thanks. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.